Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I was just watching a video about various restaurants that have experienced shrinkflation. Now I gotta say something. I acknowledge that we've had a lot of inflation. It's not because of greed or anything like that. It's because of our policies. What I strongly, Peter, dislike. See, in what kind of world? You got an emergency situation. You got to conserve your resources. Oh, by the way, let's waste a bunch of packaging material to make every package a little bit smaller. On what world does that make a whole lot of sense, right? That's my big problem with it. Think about how much money is spent on packaging. I distinctly remember I used to eat a lot of baking chocolate. I haven't eaten that stuff in weeks. Can you believe it? It's kind of crazy. But baker's chocolate went from 8 ounces directly to 4. This was almost 10 years ago now, if I remember correctly. They weren't even sneaky about it. I guess they decided to do it once instead of a little bit at a time, right? So to create a little bit less noise. But on what world? At the time, I think 2010 was when somebody decided to corner the market in chocolate. It's probably around that time that they shrunk the package. In what world? Oh my God, we're already in a shortage situation. We need to conserve. Oh, by the way, let's waste some more packaging, right? Just kind of weird in my opinion. Now, where it gets really egregious is not only do they shrink the packages, but they substitute ingredients. I know this because I have to watch what I eat. I used to like this brand of kielbasa sausages. I can't have them anymore. For some reason, several years ago, they decided to add sugar to their formulation. My guess is that they're using meat that's a lot less fresh now, and they have to cover up the taste, right? That's my only guess. It's kind of funny. I actually wrote to some of these companies that had changed their ingredients, and they didn't even acknowledge it. They're like, oh, we're not aware of that. It's always been like that. So I should have saved some of my old packages. I wish I did, so I could call them out on that. It's kind of funny. I can't tell you how many times I've complained or made suggestions. Like, for example, I made some suggestions to a theme park because their rides were not very friendly to people who go there alone. And they're like, oh, our employees would never do that. This is a training matter. Yeah, right. Every year that I go there, you have a training matter on your hands. And I wish I had taken down some people's names. These are the people you need to train. Except it would be almost everybody every time I go there, right? Leave a comment. What do you do when you complain about something and you get two different stories, right? Once when you experience it, and another when somebody makes an excuse about how it should have been done or what it really was. Feel free to leave a comment. But things like that really give me a headache. I almost get nervous about complaining about anything these days. Interestingly, I was at I go to Five Guys a lot because they're the only fast food restaurant that I can safely have. I usually order the French fries. I don't know if anybody here has ever been to Five Guys, but they fill your the cup and then they scoop an extra scoop of fries. The problem is that a lot of kids who work there, they make a mess out of it. They take a big scoop and then they spill half the fries on the floor. I mean, that's a form of inflation I will not excuse, right? I mean, certainly there are things where we need to conserve. Although the fact that they're spilling the fries on the floor could also be an indirect symptom of inflation, right? Inflation is eroding how much these kids are making, and so they're not going to put as much attention into the jobs, right? Or they're going to hire people who are shoddy to begin with because of the inflation cutting everybody's wages, right? It could also be a symptom of inflation as well. But it just really boils my nerves when I see. I hate wasting food. I really do. I've never liked it, but I've liked it even less in recent years because ever since I started doing the metal casting, some of the metals I work with are considerably rare. They might not be expensive, but they're rare, and I really hate any losses in the metal. So I'll always make sure my workspace, I get all the dust from my workspace and recover all the metal. And so I kind of translate that into my eating habits, as I always lick my fingers clean and all that. And I often forget that oh, this isn't precious metals that I'm working with anymore. And so when I see people at Five Guys spill half the fries on the floor, it really makes my nerves boil. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.